before dinosaurs walked the earth, before trees, before insects, before even fish. This planet was unrecognizable. No forests, no birds, no oxygen-rich air, only rock, fire, ocean, storm. If you stood on Earth 4 billion years ago, you would not survive a single breath. And yet, somewhere in that chaos, life began. But how? How does chemistry become biology? How does a lifeless planet produce living cells? To understand life before dinosaurs, we must travel back to a time when Earth itself was still forming. The early Earth was not calm, it was molten. Asteroids bombarded the surface relentlessly. Volcanoes covered the planet in lava. The atmosphere was thick with carbon dioxide, methane, ammonia, and water vapor. There was no oxygen, no ozone layer. Ultraviolet radiation from the sun struck the surface without mercy. And yet, as the planet cooled, something remarkable happened. Water condensed. Rain fell for millions of years. The first oceans formed. Could it be that life did not begin on land, but in the sea? The earliest evidence of life appears in ancient rocks in Western Australia and Greenland. Microscopic fossils, chemical signatures, simple organisms known as prokaryotes, single-celled life without a nucleus, no eyes, no brains, no organs, just membranes, and chemistry. These early cells likely fed on chemical energy from hydrothermal vents, underwater volcanic systems rich in minerals. In total darkness, life may not have needed sunlight at first. It only needed energy gradients. But this raises a question. Did life begin in shallow warm ponds or deep beneath the ocean floor? We still do not know. For over 1 billion years, life remained microscopic. Then something changed everything. Cyanobacteria evolved the ability to perform photosynthesis. They used sunlight to convert carbon dioxide and water into energy, and as a byproduct, they released oxygen. At first, oxygen was toxic. It reacted with iron in the oceans, forming vast iron deposits. But slowly, oxygen accumulated in the atmosphere. This event is known as the Great Oxidation Event. It was the first global environmental catastrophe caused by life itself. Anaerobic organisms died. New organisms adapted. Earth's sky began to change color. Blue. Without cyanobacteria, dinosaurs would never exist. Neither would we. Eventually, a revolutionary step occurred. One cell engulfed another, but did not digest it. Instead, they formed a partnership. This process is called endosymbiose. The engulfed bacteria became mitochondria, the powerhouses of complex cells, and thus, eukaryotic life emerged. Cells with nuclei, cells with internal structure, cells capable of becoming multicellular organisms. Complexity had begun, but evolution was slow. For nearly 1 billion years, life remained simple and microscopic. Why? What delayed complexity? At least twice in Earth's history, the planet may have frozen almost entirely. Ice-covered oceans, from pole to equator. Global temperatures plummeted. These Snowball Earth events nearly ended life, but they may have done the opposite. Extreme conditions create evolutionary pressure. When the ice melted, nutrients flooded the oceans, life diversified rapidly. Was hardship necessary for complexity? Did global catastrophe prepare the stage for the rise of animals? Before dinosaurs, before even the famous Cambrian Explosion, There was the Ediacaran period. The first large, soft-bodied organisms appeared. Strange forms, flat, frond-like creatures, disc-shaped organisms, no mouths, no eyes, alien in appearance. Some may not belong to any living group today. This was the first experiment in multicellular life. But most of these organisms vanished. Why? Did competition eliminate them? Did environmental change wipe them out? Or were they evolutionary dead ends? By the time the Cambrian Explosion approached, life was ready. Cells had learned cooperation. Oxygen filled the sky. Genetic complexity increased. The stage was set, but dinosaurs were still hundreds of millions of years away. Before reptiles, before forests, before bones. There was a silent world of microbes and soft bodies, and without that world, nothing that followed would exist. The question is not just how life survived before dinosaurs. The real question is, could it happen again on another planet, or was Earth impossibly lucky? Around 541 million years ago, something unprecedented happened. Life accelerated in a relatively short geological window, roughly 20 to 25 million years. Most major animal body plans appeared. This event is known as the Cambrian Explosion, but it was not an explosion of fire. It was an explosion of form, eyes, mouths, skeletons, movement, predators. Vision changed everything. Before eyes, organisms sensed light and chemicals. After eyes, they could see. The earliest complex visual systems appear in compound eyes made of calcite lenses. For the first time, life could detect motion with precision, and once something can see you, you must adapt. Did the evolution of sight trigger an evolutionary arms race? One of the most formidable Cambrian predators was a meter-long hunter in a world of centimeters. Large compound eyes, spiked frontal appendages, circular mouth lined with plates. It did not graze, it pursued. Predation reshaped evolution. Shells became thicker. Bodies became armored. Burrowing behavior increased. The ocean floor was no longer safe. Before the Cambrian, most organisms were soft-bodied. Now, calcium carbonate and calcium phosphate formed shells and exoskeletons, hard parts which is why the Cambrian record appears so sudden. But were animals truly absent before this? Or did skeletons simply preserve what soft tissues could not? The fossil record may not show the beginning of animals. It may only show the moment they became visible. Behind the anatomical revolution was a genetic one. Hox genes master regulatory genes control, body segmentation and structure. They act like architectural blueprints. With relatively small genetic changes, entire body plans can reorganize. The genetic machinery for complexity may have existed long before the explosion. So why did it activate when it did? Was it oxygen levels, ecological pressure, genetic thresholds, or all of them combined? By the mid-Cambrian, oceans were structured. Predators, prey, scavengers, filter feeders, borrowers. Energy flowed through layered food webs. This was no longer a microbial world. It was an ecosystem. From this point forward, life would never return to simplicity. The blueprint for vertebrates was emerging, and with vertebrates, the distant ancestors of dinosaurs. Dinosaurs are coming, but first, backbones must evolve.